What up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to Grizz 901, your number one Grizzlies postgame show, and it's not even close. As you can tell, my voice, yeah, it ain't good. I promise you that. But the Grizzlies do win 135 to 119 against those lowly Brooklyn Nets. My guy got a little spicy a little bit late into that game. We're going to get into all of that and much more. I can promise you that. But do me a favor, go ahead and hit the like button if you're joining us over on YouTube. If you're on Twitter, join us over on YouTube. I promise you, there's many more of you. We'll make sure we hit the chat as we always do tonight. Answer a lot of the questions. We haven't been here in about a week, I believe, and so I've been missing you 100%. And Nate, I don't even know where Nate is tonight, but I know that he is not here. But Ryan is joining us, so make sure you get in the chat to make fun of him as much as you possibly can. But the Grizzlies do win 135 to 119. We're going to break down the game, get into Grizz trivia, and then we'll do a live look ahead as we always do the look ahead. But now Ryan is here, so he can join us there. So that'll be all we got. Let's go ahead and hit the show. Yo, what up, Ryan? How are you?
I didn't realize we had the best rivalry in sports, apparently, between Brooklyn and Memphis. I had no idea. Yeah, I was not expecting any of that at all.
Yeah, that game, as Kenny says, spicy. I like it.
It was so odd.
It was very odd. It was very odd. But what's up, everybody in the chat? Thank you for joining us. I was kind of I was nervous about this show because one, my voice sucks. Like it's literally gone. I had flu B, not flu A or even C, but flu B. So F flu B. It stole my voice. It's been gone. I can't get it back. It's literally like been like this for a week. Like it'll act like it's coming back and then it'll just kind of go away. And so I don't know what's going on, but we're gonna kind of get through it. But we got spicy Santi, we got spicy Jenkins, spicy Ja. There's a lot that's been going on tonight. So off the top rope, Ryan, what's your thoughts?
It was a very odd game. I mean, there was huge runs the entire game. Like the Grizzlies would build a 20-point lead. The Nets would all of a sudden be down 5. Like it felt like the closest 20-point game in history. Like it never felt like on good footing for the Grizzlies until the very end when the Nets threw in the white flag. But you had a little bit of everything in this game. Like if you were a fan at the game, you probably you got the money's worth for your tickets. Because there was alley-oop lobs, there was Ja being Ja, like the Nets shooting a bunch of threes, being hand checking, Tex. You had Taylor Jenkins, like the comment there, cussing up a storm at the refs. The refs have two of the refs have no idea what they're doing, calling the worst plays for both sides. It wasn't one-sided. It had a little bit of everything in this game, and then almost a fight at the end. Like what? Like, come on, guys! Like we're supposed to be in the holiday spirit, and it was weird, but it was nice for the Grizz to actually beat the Nets, exercise a little bit of demons here because we just for some reason could not beat them. So it was nice to actually beat them and beat them by margin, which I did not expect them to do.
Yeah, before the game, I get a little I guess our DM, whatever it is that we have.
Yeah.
So me, Ryan, and Nate have I guess it's Twitter DM. It's not, I don't know what do you call it, a chat, maybe, whatever.
Yeah,
Anyway,
sure.
we had that just, honestly, it's for us three for the show, but honestly, just to talk as friends in general. But you put in there, why is Memphis favored by 9.5? And I saw it
was
late.
shocked.
Yeah, I saw it late, and the first quarter was already going on, and I think they'd already finished the first quarter. I was like, because they are good, Ryan, because they're good.
Well, I didn't know Cam Thomas was out.
He's been out.
And then I saw he had the hamstring. That's how little I pay attention to the Nets. I was like, wait, why are we a double-digit favorite? Like, I'm pretty sure last time we played the Nets, we were 9.5-point favorites and lost outright, right?
Probably
so I was like, wait, why are they favored again? But it was a weird game. Like, if you watch the whole thing, it was odd.
Yeah, I missed a little bit of the first. I had a play from my show, the Weekend Wager Show. If you're interested in betting, we are live every Friday at 2 p.m. East or 2 p.m. Central, 3 Eastern. But I had a play on the Grizzlies today. I very rarely do the Grizzlies, but I had to play on them to go over 61.5 in the first half as a team total. Flew over that. I felt good about it. I was watching them after my daughter's basketball game. We went to Huey's. We watched it live. So I've seen majority of the game. Bits and pieces I had to miss due to the waitress having a hard time getting it up on the main TV. Yeah, I was very frustrated. But the Grizzlies, they played well, man. Ja was off to a slow start. Bane was off to a hot start. I don't
Yeah.
know if Jaren ever really got started. Did you see anything big out of him tonight? Because it just seemed like he was kind of lost in the sauce.
I wouldn't say he was lost. I would say he was just solid, right?
Okay.
Like he wasn't bad, he wasn't exceptional. He was just average Jaren, which average for Jaren is a really impactful player, right? So
Right.
to have kind of steady performances like that from Jaren, I think are what we looking for now from him because in the past it was always feast or famine, right? Like
Yeah.
Jaren could have a 30-point game, then he'd follow it up with a 7.1. Now it's consistent. So I wouldn't say he played bad. He certainly had moments where he took over, but it was more about Ja, right? Like it was Ja's game. You could tell Ja wanted it, whatever he has against Dennis Schroeder, or I mean, he had a moment brushing by Jordy Fernandez after the first quarter, and Jordy kind of looked at him like, "Wait, what's going on?" So this was just like a Ja game to me. Like he really wanted this one. I don't know if it was a week off or what, or he's pissed that they lost to the Nets before, but yeah, I didn't think Jaren was bad. I thought he was good.
Okay.
Wasn't exceptional. It was just a job night.
All right. Well, if you look at the numbers overall, I'm gonna try to pull these up real quick because the app is not working. 20 points overall from Jaron. He had 5 steals, which is crazy. I didn't know he had that many steals. No blocks, which is a little random for him, but 2 assists, 7 rebounds. So it was, as you said, just a kind of a solid night. He was a plus 26 in his 32 minutes just overall, but. Jalen Wells, there's been a lot of speculation and a lot of thoughts on him. He's kind of maybe hit the rookie wall in a sense, but
Yeah.
tonight he was a plus 20, 12 points. He did have 5 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal. But in the end, going 2 of 3 from 3 point is big on him. So thoughts on Jalen because he has been kind of struggling, but I think that Jalen kind of had a little bounce back game tonight.
Yeah, I think the stats, if you didn't watch the game and just looked at the stats, you'd have thought Wells was pretty solid, right?
Right.
And he is solid. He's doing a lot of good things, but it's obvious when you're watching, it doesn't really pass the eye test. I agree with you. It does seem like he's starting to hit kind of that, not a rookie wall. Usually, no, that's a little bit later in the season after a
Yeah.
bunch of minutes, but it does seem like he's kind of lost a little footing, right? He doesn't have the same kind of pop that he did initially. Now, is that from teams starting to game plan for him because he's a starter now? That's possible, right?
Yeah.
But he's still adding to the team. He's not hurting, but he doesn't have that same kind of offensive pop right now. And that's probably going to be his season, right? Like second round draft pick, not expecting much from him. And now he's starting for a top 3 team in the West, right? Like he's going to have streaks like this. That's just a rookie thing to do. So, yeah, he might be kind of in a lull offensively for us right now, but he can also have a January where he gets back to the 18 to 20
Right.
points, 5 threes a game type performances.
Yeah. And going back to Jen real quick, as video watcher, which listen, I have not seen your name before, video watcher. So thank you for joining us for sure. But Jaren had 4 steals in the first half, 5 total, 20.7 rebounds. If a whole home game for him, then I'll take it. That listen,
Absolutely.
it
Yeah.
was me. One, I was honest. I said I caught the game majority of the time, but I was trying to live life personally. But coach my girls to a win. We came up short. We lost by 1 point, damn it. And I will say the reason we lost is because our girls got confused and scored on our own basket tonight. So they're
Oh,
third graders. That was
that
the
happens.
only time I sat tonight. We
You know
did
that
that and I sat
yeah.
down just and perplexed. I was pissed.
The old coaching adage, which was always taught to me, was that any loss, 5 points or less, you can say the coach could have done something different that would have won them the game. So
Yeah, I
it's
could have
probably on you for not
could
telling
have
your
put a
girls not to
lid.
score in their own basket. That's
Yeah.
probably on you.
One time we shot 7 different times 'cause I challenged them to get offensive rebound. We shot 7 different times on the same possession, and we literally never hit the rim. It was bad. They kept shooting back and forth over it, and I was like, "All right." So the one time
It's
we
bad.
hit on the wrong basket, you magically make it on the
Yeah.
first shot. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. But, um, yeah. Why are you dressed like a venture capitalist tonight? Sorry. My bad. I just got in from coaching us to a loss.
Well, you sound
Um,
like you did a bunch of blow and went to the strip
yeah,
club too. So it
I
fits
wish.
right with what you did. So
I wish. I
you
wish.
you
Real quick,
wish. Oh God. Okay.
listen, I had a lot more fun than losing in a third grade basketball girls. But
Mhm.
look, let's go back up to King Mix. He's talking about Dennis Schroeder. He looks like Spike from the Gremlins. Do you remember the Gremlins?
I mean, I remember what the Gremlins were. I don't know who Spike is.
Dude, it's so good. Spike was one of the gremlins, and so he has a spiked hair. He does look like him in a weird roundabout way. Obviously, it does not spot on, but it is pretty
Yeah.
funny. Anyway, all right. So, video watcher, thank you. Enjoying the Bluff City Media video content. It's been good lately. It's always good, but it's been really good lately. Everybody's kind of stepping their game up. We're going live a lot of times in the afternoon. I know the $2 Sports Show. Shout out to Rusty and Drew, going live on Tuesday and Thursday, like live. The other shows are pre-recorded, but they're still being debuted in the afternoon, and so they're still live to you. But live, that's really what I love the most. And so shout out to Drew and Rusty going live on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon. Don't miss it. But let's go through these real quick. Another couple of guys. I want to hit on the last guy, Brandon Clark, 14 points overall, 8 rebounding. The rebounding really is he stepped back up to me, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hit on him too much, but I want to
Sure.
talk about the 4 guys. If you're talking about the core 4, let's go through them. Jaren, 20 points. Desmond Bain, 21 points. John Morant, 28 points. And if you're wondering who's the last one, it's Santi Aldama, 20 points tonight, 6 rebounds. He went 5 of 9 from deep. Talk about our other core 4 member, Santi.
Santi also had a really odd moment where they called that offensive foul on him, and absolutely lost his mind. He got really upset about that. I was like, wait, why is he so upset about that? But he absolutely lost it. And it just fueled him. I mean, he was playing well in the third anyways. But after that, he just knocked down, like, I think 3 of his next 4 threes after that.
Right.
And basically kind of steadied the boat a little bit for the Grizzlies, because it was one of those kind of teetering back and forth, because I think coming out of halftime, we were up 12, if I remember correctly, and the Nets quickly cut it to like 3 or 5. And then we kind of ballooned it back up to 17. The Nets cut it back down to like 7 or 8. And then Santi kind of had that little mini run after. I don't know why he was so upset, but whatever it takes for him to get like that, I don't know why he just doesn't do that all the time. Like, Jenkins should start paying a ref just to call bad fouls on Santi to see if he can get him riled up a little bit. Because if that's what you got to do to Santi to get him to play like that, then it needs to happen every game. Like, what is he waiting on?
Well, listen, I was told a little inside information. Somebody pissed in his Cheerios, and so if you know about Santi's Cheerios, you don't mess with his Cheerios. So that was I missed that actual part because you sent that message, and I was like, I have no idea. I'm driving at this moment, so I missed all of the Santi stuff. And so anytime you can get somebody pissed off and they play in a positive way, you note that as a coach. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Got something out of them with this moment. There's a way you can kind of flip that switch for him later on. So I know that Jenkins and his coaching staff is 100% using that for the future, because anytime you can get a player to play that positive after being pissed off, it's a good thing, because that's the opposite. Sometimes the opposite happens.
Right.
You're just like, hey, calm down, deep breath, deep breath, because you don't, because they just lose themselves in the moment. And so good on Santi, the core 4 member. Should we get him? Should he be part of the
what do you call it? No.
Well, we can put him on a T-shirt. I think he is. I wish Wayno was here, legit, because Wayno hates Santi, but the saucy Santi. All right, Emma Soames, I think that's you. I think that's your name. Shout out. I have not seen your name either, so shout out to you. Thanks for hanging out with us as always. But overall, just kind of thoughts on the game just as a whole, because they literally played well. And I know that sometimes you can kind of play down. And I mentioned this morning on my betting show. This team is going to play with their hair on fire because they've already been beat by this Brooklyn team twice. So I knew that they were going to come out and play well. That's why they were favored by 9.5, Ryan.
Yeah.
But overall, just thoughts on them, because I think they're turning kind of a corner on this season. And I think they've done that with this homestand.
Yeah, I think anytime that you can beat a team by margin, then you should. And good teams do that, right? Like if the Celtics are going to beat you by 30, they're going to. Like they're not going to let you stick around. And the Grizzlies, for a team like the Nets that have beaten them and given them a lot of problems they played them twice and lost both to them. They put them away. And so that is a good sign of things to come, of what good teams do, right? Like they keep their foot on your neck and they don't let you back up.
Yeah.
And so even though there are runs in basketball, that's just the NBA now, right? Like you're just going to have those runs. They sustained them. They didn't freak out. So they seem to be learning from earlier parts of seasons where they would get a little over their skis, right? And they would just they kept their foot on the pedal, and they ended up blowing this team out like they should. So it's a good sign of where things are going, I should say.
Right. I agree. They are going the right direction. Real quick, yes or no? No more than that.
Maybe. Oh,
no more. No more than that. Is this team a championship contender? We'll give you as currently constructed.
Contender, not an actual winner.
Contender. I didn't say a winner. I'm not telling you to predict. If you were,
okay,
I need you to break out your little 8-ball.
Yes, they're a contender.
All signs point to yes.
Yeah.
I love it. I think they are legit. Like as of now, and we don't have Vince and Gigi back at this moment. And so it's hard to say yes. But I think if you have the big four playing like they are, and then you add in Gigi and you add in Santi, I really do think this team is legit a contender. And so, Jaren playing as good as he's been playing, even when I thought he had a decent night, okay, not great, he's still consistently a really good player. Even Goon the shooter has nothing negative to say tonight, which means that Jaren is playing exceptional. And so I'm a big fan of what Jaren has kind of turned into because he's maturing. And I never would have said that. I never thought I would have said that 2 years ago. I've always said his basketball IQ is very low. I think he's finally kind of caught up to himself finally.
Yeah, I think the caveat to that is, do I think they can actually win the finals? No. I think they can go far, but I don't think they can actually win it, which leads to an interesting conversation is it the time to make that trade now move for a guy that could potentially put you over that edge where you could have a real shot at actually winning the whole thing?
Sherman says you're a liar. Stand on it, Sherman. I love it. Call that man. Just tell him straight to his face. He's a liar.
Fine. That's fine. They're a contender, but they're probably not going to win it the way they are. Like I do think they are a piece or two away.
Okay.
Can you say that's Vince? Can you say it's Gigi? Maybe. But then you're talking about Vince and Gigi playing in a playoff environment for 4 straight series that they've never done before, right? Like they're probably a year or two before we can be like, okay, this is a reliable playoff piece, right? So I think that if you're doing a move now, it's for someone who's a proven playoff player. If you were going to go down that road, not saying you should.
Let's go down that road.
But that's the caveat. And then the problem is, who is that player, right?
That's my
And then
question.
what are you giving up for them? Because if you do that, sure, you have, I don't know if you're losing Bane, right? Like, for instance, like I would assume in any trade, the untouchables are Ja and Jaren, right? Um, I
You
would
didn't mention
assume
somebody else.
I would assume those are the two untouchables.
That's it.
I love Bane, but I wouldn't say he's an untouchable. Um, so then like you're losing Bane, who's the guy that's coming in there that propels them to from what Bane does? It's a very difficult conversation to have, right? Because the only kind of proven playoff player that's out there, I mean, who is it? Who is a guy that takes you over the hump? I don't know who that player is.
Yeah.
So I always felt like this year was kind of a lot of youth starting to play together. Um, Vince and Gigi kind of getting their feet back under them, getting into a playoff series. And then next year would kind of be like, all right, our roster set, whatever we do with Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, all of those guys, whatever. But now we have another playoff season belt with our main three. Brandon Clark's back to a full year after his rehab. Vince and Gigi have seen a playoff situation. Like, to me, next year kind of feels like, okay, they should be the preeminent, like top 3 to 5 guys considered to be a favorite to win it all.
Gotcha. I think that they, before the season started, I don't think that they were in that conversation at all.
Right.
I think that they can get themselves in that conversation. And the reason I say that is because if you can develop your team outside of your big 5, 6, maybe 7, if you can develop your team outside of your top 7 on your rotation and really get them good where they can contribute enough, it'll actually allows them to make you better as a whole because everybody is challenged and internally. As a team, you're challenging your fringe assets, like your fringe players, like everybody's being challenged and pushed. And so it's usually, either S or get off the pot at this point. And I think
Yeah.
some of these guys are having to get off the pot. And I think we're seeing that out of players like Santi. I think we're seeing players like that out of Jake in a sense. But the reason I think this season is gone as well as it possibly can go is the fact is you're going to continue to get players back throughout the season.
Yeah.
You don't get them all back at one time. You're not trying to gel all of it at one time. You literally have a good 7 that you feel comfortable with. You're going to get back GG, which is an 8. You're going to get back Vince, which is the 9. At that point, you can then trim on the outside if you need to. If not, I don't know if you have to. You can still run 9. But I really do think that this team is going to get back the guys at the right time. They might not have to make a trade because they're surviving without them. But this has been a long homestand against some terrible teams. So I don't want to say I'm going to ignore everything that's going around because there's a lot of bad teams they played. They're all at home and they're going to have to go on the road at some point, but they're winning when they need to win. And I think that can be important as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, you talked about a homestand. I mean, they have a road stretch coming up here that I've just wanted to look at to remind myself because I wanted to mention it. Starting December 27th, 9 of their 11 games are on the road. And it's against good competition. Like they're playing, well, the first one's not going to be good competition, but you never know if they get people back. The first one's the Pelicans. But after that, it's the Thunder, Suns, Kings, Warriors. Like that's that first step. Then they come home and play the Mavericks and Rockets.
Yeah.
Then they go back on the road and it's the Timberwolves, Rockets, and the Spurs twice. So, I mean, I think that's going to be a really good kind of weather vane on where they are, is that stretch, right? If they can come out of that stretch, I don't know, like 7-4, I feel like really good about that. Right? Even 500, I'd probably feel good about that because that is just a road game run that is just stacked against you. Most of those teams come out below 500 out of those kind of roads. They're just dead at the end of it, especially against a good run of teams here. So I'm really interested by that stretch. Like it's a 2 or 3 week stretch. And I think that's going to be a really good indicator on, okay, is this real or not? Like, should we expect them to be a top 2 or 3 team in the West, or maybe is the recent kind of homestand playing weaker competition? Maybe that was a little bit smoke and mirrors. That's what we don't know.
Wow. Yeah. I just think that yes, they were at home, and I think you can get kind of lost a little bit in that, and the competition that they played. But winning when they had to win is important, and
Yeah.
I think that them finding themselves, you go 500, they're already 10 games above 500, 18-8, right? You go 500, that's a win for you because you built up a 10-game, I guess, lead above
Yeah.
500. At this rate, they're getting at 50 wins is what the rate that they're built so far. Them falling a little bit under that, you're still going to follow yourself into a playoff contender. The thing is, it's not about the record. At some point, it's about how do you set yourself up, and so that's what I always look
Right.
at is how they setting themselves up. I have a lot of questions, and we're what are we about halfway through the show? So I want to get through a lot of these. So they might move a little bit faster. If
Sure.
you have a question, go ahead and ask. I know that King Meeks has one. He put in there hashtag Ask Ryan. So if you have a question, hashtag Ask whatever. Ask me. Ask Ryan. Ask Jesus. I don't know. We'll call him too if you need us to. But I do have a question. I wanted to put this up here earlier and I didn't. But Lauren, she was a first timer last time. But shout out to Lauren. That game, wild, a little bit wild at the very end. So I forgot to put that up there. But Reese from earlier in the show was asking, was Luke available tonight? I believe he was.
He was dressed, I think.
It said coach's decision on why he didn't play.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that we're all agreeing that he was just out
He looked
because
dressed. Like he looked like he could come in if he wanted to. I don't know if he's just
if
dressing out for
he wanted to. Nah, bro, he didn't want to. He said no.
But
I do want to know if
pretty
you
sure
see
he was
something.
dressed.
I don't have time to look through here to see about like DeMichael Cole if he asked a question, or maybe Paris Sharkey since he's there. If they've asked a question about why Luke didn't play tonight, because normally he does. And so if you have anything that you see, please let me know. I would love to see why he might not have played. So anyway, let's move on past that a little bit. But I want to ask a question on this is from Ask Ryan. This is Ask Ryan from King Meeks. Is there a scenario, even though King Meeks can't spell scenario, they don't trade anyone? This is a new way to spell scenario, everybody. If you're looking for the dictionary, ask them if they'll add it this way. Serrano for scenario. King Meeks. Sorry.
Well, of course, there's a scenario they don't trade anyone. I just don't think this front office is in a rush, right? It's not like Ja, Bain, Jaron are 29 or 30.
Yeah.
And there's like a short window here. Like they have a open runway. So I don't think the Grizzlies, I just don't think they're going to make a move that feels like a panic thing, right? Like it's going to have to be beneficial for both sides. Like they're just not going to lose the trade on purpose because they just feel like they have to bring something in. I don't think they feel that way. So absolutely, they could not trade anyone.
Do you think that's a loss to not go out and trade for somebody right now when they have the potential to trade for somebody?
I just don't really know who it is. You know, if there was, I mean, Cam Johnson is a really nice player, right? He is a guy who was a pivotal player for the Suns that made the finals.
Right.
Him playing in that Jalen Wells spot. Yes, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Does it flip us another tier? That's what I don't know. And he is an older player, right? So if I think you can make an argument for either one. There's going to be people who are going to say, look, the top three are ready now. Do something. Let's go for it. And I agree with that, right? Then there's the other side who says, look, they're only 25. They're not even in their primes yet. Why are we rushing everything? Let's just continue to build. We got GG Vince, Jalen Wells, whatever we get from Zach Edey. And then maybe in a couple years, we just build this thing from the ground up instead of having to do the Boston Celtics or the Miami Heat thing where they have to move pieces in and out, right? I don't think there's a wrong avenue. People, I think, are just going to have a very definitive side of the fence that they're going to be on. And I don't think either side is wrong. Like, I wouldn't be mad if I woke up tomorrow and they traded for Jimmy Butler. I wouldn't be mad.
I would be upset.
I would not be upset. If they didn't do anything. And
the only reason I'm upset,
I wouldn't be upset.
Is so what's Jimmy Butler's contract?
Oh, it's horrible.
That's the issue is,
and
like,
he wants another one, right? And he's like 35, 36.
You're on a rental, first of all. What do you like? My question is always like, what do you have to give up to make it make sense? Like, I love Jimmy Butler, the playoff guy. We don't need him during the regular season at all. Like, he is not needed for this team. While my freaking headpiece is just crackling over here in my ear. Maybe it's Jimmy Butler trying to get in my head. But
maybe your kids just shot on their own goal again.
Yeah, something's happening. I don't know if Jesus is coming back, but my God, this is horrible. But I will say that there we go. It wasn't clicked in all the way. That'll do it for you. But I will say that Jimmy Butler, what you have to give up to get him onto your team is even more. You're compounding. Have you ever heard of compounding interest, people? You're compounding this problem, right? It doesn't make sense. Like, I just need, if you want to go buy a new car, a new player, cool. Let's pay cash. Like, I'm not trying to compound the interest at this point in life. Let me put my vest back on if we're going to have these talks. But I will say that, like, I love Jimmy Butler, the playoff type guy, but I don't think he's needed for right now. But it's not even about that. It's about what you have to give up to get him, and what you have to give up to actually get him on your team. I don't know if that really does anything else, but I know that a lot of people have questions, and I love talking about this because then the chat just starts blowing up because everybody has opinions. Thoughts on Cam Johnson just overall, because he is gettable. He's a decent contract guy. You don't have to give up a ton to get him. Would you make the move and get him, but at what cost?
I mean, that's what I was mentioning earlier about him. Like, he's a really nice player. He would be awesome in the Jalen Wells spot, right? More steady, at least, and bigger. But it's just like, does it go from where, third or fourth of pecking order in the West to now we're first because we got Cam Johnson? I don't know. The idea sounds like yes, but I don't really know. Like, he's a really good player. But you are going to trade in a lot of the assets that you have. Like, that is just what you're going to do if you're going in for right now. Right. So if you're going to make that move, you're going to send out a lot. And that's why I think that, like what King Meeks was saying, we could not trade anyone because they just may not see the value in cashing in a 4-for-1 trade. Right. Or a 4-for-2, and the second guy is another bad expiring contract from the Heat or whatever that they're just trying to get rid of. So I don't know. Like, it's tough.
Yeah. Well,
there's no right or wrong answer, I don't think.
So let me take out
a wrong answer if it's the wrong player, right?
Yeah. So this has always been my issue, and Marco just brought this up. You're trading years of flexibility for marginal gain. That's always been my issue. But what is
flexibility? That's the thing. We always talk. This is where, like, I like flexibility. I'm with you on that. I prefer player development. That is just what I do, right? I love the draft. Like, I want to talk about Noah Clowney tonight. Like, I think the kid has something, but whatever. But that is the conversation, right? Flexibility doesn't win you championships, right? The Boston Celtics really didn't have that. They created it and took advantage of a situation where Drew Holiday happened to end up in Portland, and they pounced on it, right? So if it's the right move, then go do it. That's the problem is there a right move, right player out there? Like, another example people talk about is Jeremy Grant. that's not a guy that I'm probably going all in on, right? Like, I don't
No.
think he's a huge needle mover. That's the tough conversation. So you can say flexibility. I like that too, right? You can do a lot of things with it and develop your players, but flexibility for years hasn't led to championships, right? And
Right.
so if you're going to go for it, what player is that?
Everybody say hello to Nate. He just joined us. I have no idea why he's missing tonight. Just personally, I have no idea. I forgot if he told me. But he wants us to go out and get Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis has looked really good this year on those surging Milwaukee Bucks. I know you don't believe me. I know Nate doesn't believe me, but I think that they are surging. The yard complete opposite of me. But hello, Nate. Good luck, I guess, or congrats. I don't even know what you're doing, but we miss you. But everybody say hello to Nate. He's in the chat. But I do have a question for you because I want to ask your honest opinion on this. Darius Tolliver, who's an OG here as well, is asking, we have playoff experience already. Do you agree or disagree with that? On this roster, as currently constructed, we already have playoff experience players.
Well, sure. Yeah. You've got guys who have been there already, right? Like, I mean, Ja was there, Jaren, Bane, Marcus Smart has been there a lot. Is he broken down? But yeah, I mean, we've got playoff experience to our higher end players, but you know better than I about the rest of your roster has key moments in playoff rounds. And we have never seen Vince. We have never seen Gigi in those situations. We have no clue, right? We just don't know what we're going to get until they actually get there. That's why I'd say they could contend for it, but not actually win this year if they're not going to make some sort of move.
Okay. That's kind of, so I'm kind of hesitant because what are those playoff experiences like? We've
Yeah.
never got out of the first round.
We made the second.
Huh?
I'm saying
I'm sorry, we've never got out of the second round. We've got out of the first round, but we never really moved on past that second round. I guess that's what I meant. I said it wrong in my head.
Yeah.
I think that be careful kicking the tires on Marcus Smart. They might literally go flat. Like, I don't believe in that guy, and I don't think he's here long term. I think he's fine. I think he's saying all the right things. I think all the right things are being said because he's expecting to be moved. And that's just me. I have no reason to think that otherwise, other than we just think we need to move on from him. I don't think he's the right fit for this team long term.
Yeah.
And I think he can be easily duplicated. When we get Vince back, when we get Gigi back, that's great. And I love those type of players. They have a little to no playoff experience. So at that point, so at that point, when you do make a trade, do you trade to go bring back somebody that has some playoff experience, or are you okay with just the guys who have that currently? I'm leaving Marcus Smart out of this because he was the guy that was sent off so they can go win a championship. Okay, that's all I'm saying. They sent him off and went and won a championship. I don't include him in all that playoff experience. I think he's fine. I don't think he fits this team overall. I think he's okay, but I want them to go get maybe some pieces. I think we're gonna have to take some lumps along the way. I think we're a contender this year, and it's okay to be a contender and not win it. But I do believe that
absolutely,
we are a contender moving forward. So I'm excited no matter what, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the thing that I think about is like the Denver Nuggets, right? I mean, it was always Jokic, and then it kind of became Jokic Murray, and then the pieces just kept adding after that, right? It was Jeremy Grant at first, switched him out. Now it was Aaron Gordon, right? They got KCP and they got Bruce Brown. Like, these can't be piecemealed in, and they can kind of grow and build together. So you have a core that has been in the playoffs, that's made the second round. Like, they obviously want to get back there, right? Like, they are determined, and I think you can kind of explain Bane's performance after the injury to that. I think he's not driving as hard as he was at the beginning of the year and hitting the ground. Like, he is avoiding, for the most part, a lot of that contact. And I think they are looking towards the playoffs. And so I think you can, in fact, explain some of Bane's ups and downs shooting wise from that, right? He's just not being as aggressive
Gotcha.
as he typically would be. So I would expect that to crank up during playoff time, right? But the pieces are added here and there. And the Nuggets went out and got those guys. The Grizzlies might have them in house, and it just may take time to move those guys in and out and to develop them, right?
Right.
Whereas after the fact, you make that run to the finals, like the Nuggets, where they lost those pieces here and there. Maybe you can sustain that success, right?
Yeah, Kenny wants to just straight up ask Ryan. I'm not sure exactly if it's a secret, but we can ask him if you want to just tell me. But Nate does have a good point here. I think this is probably the most overwhelming kind of consensus is Jaren's continued emergence, which has been big this season, gives a lot of ways to win. I think that's really true because him being and taking that next step has really covered up a lot of flaws on this team. I think we all thought he could get there, but it really has covered up a lot of flaws. And I think that Jaren kind of taking the step this year, what we all expected him, and you've always said that Jaren has the highest floor. I think that's what you said, or maybe the highest ceiling. I'm not sure exactly which one you said, but he's had the most kind of ability on this team. And I never believed you until this year.
It only took 3 years, but yeah, that was a long burn prediction on that one. But
yeah, so I'm not sure what Kenny wants to ask Ryan, but I know Nate wants to ask Ryan.
Now, these are great problems to have, right? Because we could be, the Utah Jazz, where it's like, all right, well, hope we get the lottery 14% chance to get the number one seed and get Cooper Flag. Like, we're having discussions about what piece makes us winning the national championship, winning the championship, right? Like, that is a great position to be in, and it is very exciting coming off what we witnessed last year, right?
Well, yeah. Well, finally, it looks like the keypad started working this time, but Kenny wants to know what wins championship: a dominant core or a super solid role players? It's a good question, Kenny.
It is a good question because I think it is both, right? But it's not. You need an alpha, right? And they have an alpha in Ja. They have what's growing to be an exceptional core with Jaren, where he's literally whatever a defense throws at him, he can take advantage of. But you also need the really solid role players. But at the end of the day, most of the time, the best individual players in the NBA make the finals. That is just the history of the NBA. Go back and look at the teams that won the NBA championship. They have a top 5 to 7 NBA player, or like what's considered a top NBA player. Celtics might be a little bit of an exception to that, right? But just in the history of the league, you can go back every champion. They have a top 5 NBA player. So is Ja Morant a top 5 NBA player? That's what we'll find out, right?
I think he is.
Yeah, I would think he has that level.
Right.
He has that gear and that level to take over like that. And you just need guys like that to win the playoffs. Like Luka's that guy. Jokic is that guy. SGA has shown to be that guy, right? Like Ja is that guy as well.
I have a question for you. You're not going to like it.
Uh-oh.
If you're starting a team tomorrow, let's say you were starting the Seattle Supersonics.
Okay.
And you had everybody available, but these two guys are what you were only allowed to pick from.
Okay.
If you had to pick Ja Morant or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the only two guys you had to choose one or the other to start your team, your franchise right now, who would you pick? Who would you take right now?
I think it would be both are great players, but I think I would take the massive ticket sale attraction, and that would be Ja Morant. Nobody wants to show up and watch SGA get fouls all game, right? Like
foul merchant.
He's got a really cool mid-range game. I think he's a great player. I'm not trying to bash him, but Seattle, the excitement, the buzz in that entire state to have an NBA franchise back, you'd want somebody like Ja Morant every night.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah, SGA, I think he's great. He's been awesome on my my fantasy team every single year. We do a dynasty, so I get to keep him. I don't know how it works, but they told me I get to keep him, and he's been great year after year. So he's been good. But Ja has been amazing. Speaking of Ja, you've all voted, and I appreciate that. While you're there right now, and I'm mentioning this, go over, close the chat, hit the like button. But I do appreciate you all coming in and voting. The Grizz 901 player of the game, 54%. There's 42% of you crazies that voted on Santi Aldama, but Ja Morant was the 54% winner of the Grizz 901 player of the game. So shout out to all of you for coming in, as always, voting on that. I do appreciate that because it allows us to know and gives you a little bit of buy-in on who you thought was the best player. It's not always easy, but it has been easy as of late because Ja has been crazy good, but Spicy Santi has been good as well. But that's enough about the game. Let's go ahead and take a detour and hit on a little Grizz trivia. Everybody's favorite, King Meeks. Here's your show. All right, let me pull out my notepad. So the Grizzlies scored 135 points tonight.
Okay.
Very close to setting the franchise record in 140 plus point games. The Grizzlies have officially tied the franchise record with two 140 plus point games, to which I believe it was it Sunday that they scored it? Anyway, they scored 140 points at some point in the last week or so. But they've done it twice this season, which is the franchise record. How many times have they scored 140 points in franchise history, which is Memphis franchise history?
5 times.
Ooh, that's a good guess.
We just don't score a lot of points in our history. Yeah, I would say 5.
LOL. Nope. Jones says 5. Tiffany Taylor says 3. Tiffany Taylor, I don't know who you are. Welcome. Thank you for hanging out. It says 8. Gandaria says 3. Black Nina DJ 5. King Meek 6. I will tell you that you and LOL Nope Jones is wrong. Would you like to take another guess?
I'll take 6 then. I'm close.
You're wrong.
I'll go the other way. 4.
Nope. But my girl, Tiffy Time, she's right. Tiffany Taylor is correct. Number 8. Does that shock you? Because the Grizzlies have not scored a lot of points for a long time in this history.
I would have guessed they were more recent.
Right.
Since Ja's been around.
Let me tell you that. So let me see if I can go back and look at my numbers. So 21 and 22, they did it twice. 22, 23, they did it twice. And so right now, out of those 3 seasons, this season and those 2 seasons, they've done it twice each of those seasons. So that's 6 of the 8. And so I would assume it's only, as LL Nope Jones says, only the Ja era. Hey, and you know what? Whose other era is that, Ryan?
What? What do you mean the other era?
Only Ja era. Who else's era? If you had to say Ja's era,
I'm honestly just confused by your question. I just may be missing what you're trying to get at.
It's the Taylor Jenkins era.
Oh. Yeah, just didn't even register. Wouldn't even register.
I had to. Look at that. I love Darius, bro. We are one and the same tonight. We were giving Ryan a hard time. Darius and Sherman Jones have been coming at you tonight, boy. I love it. So yeah, I thought it was funny, and I thought it was interesting to see that. I was hoping because they were on such a number, high number, I thought they were going to go for the 140 again, because the Nets suck, and I thought that they would go that way, but they did not. So we were a little shy. I don't know what the 135 is. 140 was the number that I pulled up. So, but cool. I thought it was very interesting. But all in all, it was a fun night. So I had to bring that up. So let's get away from Grizz trivia. I know King Mix is probably sad now. We only spent 4 minutes on that overall, but the Grizzlies are in a kind of a dip right now. They do play the Lakers on Sunday. So have you looked at that game, and do you have kind of a look ahead for that game?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's weird for talking about exercising demons tonight for the Grizzlies. The last 5 times the Grizzlies have played in LA, they're 1-4, right? They have just not fared very well recently against the Lakers, but the Lakers stink.
Yes.
So this is a good sign for us, and I think they'll be without LeBron. We assume.
Where is
he
LeBron?
In hiding? Is he being
Are we allowed to say?
Is he snitching? I don't know.
Snitches get stitches, LeBron.
But no, I think AD, last I looked, was day-to-day with the foot thing. LeBron's out with the foot thing. Austin Reeves is day-to-day, and all it said was pelvis. Okay. So I had to write that one down. But no, this is a really bad defensive team, right? Like their 5th worst team in defensive rating. And now you're talking about maybe not having AD or LeBron. This is only going to get worse.
Bro, they scored 87 points tonight.
They're just not good, which I think makes them, if they
Austin Reeves played.
Okay, he did play tonight. So his pelvis seems to be okay.
Right.
But after the loss tonight, they are like 3-8 in their last 11 games. So this is a team that's just having a hard time right now. So this is kind of the Grizzlies' time to get their lick back and crush this team for once, because they kind of owe them from before. But yeah, the fun thing that I like to look at, the one that I actually wrote down, is Basketball Reference has an expected record for this year, which doesn't mean much, but I think it's fun to look at sometimes just to kind of compare where stat-wise, where they think their record should be versus what their actual record is. So Lakers are what, after tonight, 13-12.
Mm-hmm.
Their expected record is 9-16.
God. Oh.
So they have somehow just added 4 extra wins, and that's because they have been actually good at home. I think they were 8-3 at home this year and just really bad on the road. So it's time for the Grizzlies to dominate the Lakers in La La Land.
Well, I hope that they suck Sunday for sure, because the Grizzlies need to kind of get a redemption and get a good win, against them. But the Grizzlies have they're in a great spot right now, because I don't know if a lot of people know this or realize this, but I heard this. I give the props to Chris Vernon. He said they were able to lock the facility for 2 days about not allowing people to come in. So pretty much like, hey, we're all going to just shut off for 2 days. It's kind of like, you take 2 days to go to the beach. You're not allowed to take your phone. You're not allowed to take your laptop, as work would tell me. Like, you just literally just don't care about life for 2 days. Go do your thing. So that's pretty much what they did. And so I think it was good for a lot of them to kind of clear their head. But the Grizzlies played tonight, which is Friday night, and then they play Sunday. They do play at the Lakers, but then they'll come back home because they don't play again until Thursday, to which is our next show will be Thursday the 19th. That's a long time. You have three games in, well, I guess 3 games in a week, realistically, because it would be Thursday night, closing in on Sunday. So 3 games in a week, that's a good time off in a sense. So it is weird scheduling, as LOL Nope Jones says, but it is the NBA Cup as well. So I think this is a time that a third of the season in, you get a little bit of a break, because if you look at the schedule for the Grizzlies just overall, the Grizzlies had 14 games in November, 14 games in December, 14 games in January. So even with all this time off, they're still getting the same amount of games. So even though they are getting this little break, they're about to get hammered at the end of December and then all through January, to which they end with 16 games in March. And so I know it seems like it's good right now, and it's a great time. They're third of the way in the season. They're not going to miss these games, I promise. So they're going to get their licks back at the end of at the end of December, because there's a lot. So
Yeah, it's tough.
we'll see. Yeah. So they better get some rest now.
They're gonna need it.
Yeah, you're gonna need it. But overall, the Grizzlies do take on the Lakers on Sunday. It's at 8:30, so it's an 8:30 start. We're not gonna have a show. I'm not doing a Sunday show. F that. So we will not be here. We'll be here Thursday for sure. But I want to ask your thoughts real quick, because this is a look ahead, but it's also a look around. We haven't done a lot of look around as of late. We've done a lot of discussion, and I want to know who. Look at King Meeks. You busy Thursday? Because Daniel's going to be suspended until further notice. He's pissed about the 4-minute. Still pissed. No, I will. So just kind of looking at the rest of this, I want to know your thoughts on who might end up in the championship game, because I actually predicted the Hawks to win.
Okay.
Recorded audio, damn it. It's recorded audio. I picked the Hawks to upset the Knicks, and then I also picked the I think that next game. Who played that same night? It was whoever it was.
It's Houston and Warriors, right?
I had the Houston beat the Warriors.
Okay.
At this point now, we have the Milwaukee Bucks going, and they're going to play all in Vegas. This is a 4-game semifinals at this point. So the Bucks take on the Hawks, and then we have the Thunder taking on the Rockets. My picks, I have the Bucks and the Thunder. What say you?
Yeah, that's what I would say too. Although the Hawks making it would be fun. So maybe I'll just say that. I'll say Thunder Hawks, because why not?
So you think there's any chance that the Rockets can upset the Thunder?
I think they can. Like, it's possible. That's going to be a pretty ugly game. Like, that's going to be super physical. That's going to be a great watch. There might not be a lot of points scored, but a lot of super physical, like, perimeter defense. So it's going to be an awesome game. But yeah, I don't really think the Rockets have enough to actually beat OKC.
Do you believe in the Rockets? I'm torn on this. Do you believe in the Rockets for a championship level contender?
No, absolutely not. I think there'll be a first round exit.
Really?
They kind of feel. You remember the Pelicans a couple years ago? They were kind of like this.
Yeah.
They weren't as athletic and stuff, and as deep, at least with athleticism, right? But they kind of remind me of that. Like, if they were a 7th or an 8th seed, they could give a 1 or 2 seed a lot of trouble. Like, they can make someone nervous just by their sheer physicality. But ultimately, I don't think the offense is there and reliable enough to actually win a first round series.
Yeah. So if you look at the way the Rockets have played, because everything I look at is betting analysis only. I could give 2 S's about exactly what they're actually doing, other than like how they're playing and their styles. And I look at the styles consistent with how teams play or how players play. If you look at the Rockets, they make everybody go one-on-one, right? And that's how their defense is. They make you beat a one-on-one defender. And if you're a one-on-one defender, which the Grizzlies have struggled at that, but I think they're finding themselves to know that Jaren and Ja can be the one-on-one offensive, like, kind of creators.
Right.
They make you beat them one-on-one. So I'm curious, does SGA really, they just played not too long ago and the Thunder won, but does SGA, can he make sure that he is the best one-on-one player that night? And I think if you can make him and you can somehow get the best of them, I really think that the Rockets could take out the Thunder. I just think that the Thunder have a chance, and because they're the all-around better team, and because the not white guy that's not a white guy, but he looks like a white guy, Isaiah Hartenstein, I think he's the difference maker in this, because if he can play well on Alperen Sengun, then I really do think that I don't think how the Rockets score at that point. If Hartenstein can play well on Sengun, then I think that the Rockets are up a creek without a paddle.
Look, I love Jalen Williams, and I want this secretly to be like the major national coming out party for Jalen Williams. So I personally want him to have an awesome 2-game stretch here. Like do they do an MVP, NBA Cup MVP? They do, right? Didn't they LeBron get it or something?
Probably.
Last year, but like I think this could be set up for Jalen Williams to have a really coming out party.
Old J-Dub coming up clutch. You never know, man. These teams are good, and I hate that the Grizzlies aren't there. I think that they are a good team, and I think this is a blessing in disguise that we're not having to go all in right now. And trying to play tough and play, full of energy. They get this little bit of a break because of the way this schedule kind of falls out. So I think it's been interesting. But there's been a question in the chat the entire night, Ryan, and I've kind of stayed away from it. I know you know the reason, but I know the reason. Why do I have a Duke shirt on? Ryan, am I a fan of the Duke Blue Devils, yes or no?
Yes. Now ask Daniel who his favorite college football team is.
If you want to know my favorite college football team, it's the Florida Gators.
Now ask him who his baseball team is.
My favorite baseball team is the Atlanta Braves. I'm a 90s kid.
Now ask him who his NFL team is.
I'm a Cowboys fan. I don't know if you realize this. I'm from the 90s, and I grew up
on a Navy base. Like, did you just move around every 6 months?
I have never moved. I grew up in Fraser, just so we're all aware. I grew up in Fraser, and we did not have football. I wasn't aware that you're supposed to cheer for a college, and you had to like all their sports. I didn't get I didn't get the pamphlet. Okay,
what was the draw for Florida? I'm just curious.
Okay,
was it Spurrier?
Good question. Good question. I have a great answer though. So I went to a small private school. There was literally 70 people. 14 of those 70, this is from kindergarten until 12th grade. I did not graduate there, thank God. My rest of my family they're dumb. I love you all. If you're watching, love you. But they're dumb. All right. So our mascot was an alligator, to which we're in Fraser in the 90s. We had a real live alligator named Albert that was in a baby pool. You know those blue baby pools you find at Walmart?
Yes.
And it had the wire cage. It was 4 to 5 foot of wire cage up. But Albert was in the room with us all the time. I could feed Albert. I think I fed him carrots. I don't remember. I loved having a live alligator, which you would not have that anymore. Yeah. All right. And Florida has not been good since they were good in 2002. Anyway, they haven't been good really since the 90s. The Cowboys suck. Okay. This is a terrible relationship. Okay. They get and I give a lot. And the Braves, they were good a few years ago. And the best championship I've ever seen in my life was them winning. But I grew up like this, man. I didn't know anything, but that was the reason I was a Gator fan, is because we had a real live alligator named Albert. And little known fact, Albert the alligator in Florida.
Alliteration. Learned a lot.
Yep. So.
Now, I think next show you should wear a piece of every single one of those teams in some sort of like Cowboys earmuffs with a Braves hat, keep the Duke shirt, put on a Florida jacket. Like, I just want to see it. I want to see the full colors.
Yeah, hey, Lightning dude said, wait, didn't Florida win 3 natties with Tebow? I don't know if it was 3, but they did win a lot. They beat Ohio State. I remember that. It was the 2000s. Okay. I haven't had a championship in a while, except for the Braves not too long ago, which I've been a Braves fan since I was a baby. So there's no bandwagon on that one. So anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I have Kenny says he's seriously reconsidering some things after tonight. I'm trying my best, but I am who I'm a fan of. I can't help it.
Grizz trivia. impromptu. Who used to host the Grizz 901 live show? Chat, let's hear your answers.
Yeah, fired. No, but tonight's been great. I'm glad to be back. My voice is not completely back, but I now have until Thursday. And so we've had one show a week. Thank you for that, schedule makers. But now one show a week, even though I haven't been off of doing shows. I think I've done a show every single day for the last 2 weeks because of different reasons or whatever, doing other betting shows. But anyway, this has been it's been a blast. It's been fun to be back in the saddle to do this. Looks like Nate might be back next time, and I don't know the schedule because it is a crazy schedule because we're right at Christmas. So Thursday is the Warriors, which is
You
cool.
gotta have a show for that one.
Definitely having a show for that one. And then we have the Hawks on a Saturday. I'm not doing that because I have too much basketball, kids, life. Monday the 23rd or Thursday the 26th. I don't know. I'm going to be very honest. I assume we do one on the 23rd because that's not really a holiday there yet. So I would assume we do one on Monday the 23rd. The 26th is going to be tough. Not going to lie. I know we have family.
I might try to be in person. Oh.
Okay. We might have a little meet and greet.
Might be in town.
All right.
Catch me at Southland. Oh, no.
Well, so I know Nate is going to be in town during that week as well. So that might be a time that maybe that's our Bluff City Media / Grizz 901 meet and greet where we all just go to the game because it is on the 26th and we don't have a show. I don't know. I would rather do that personally than have this. Whether it's nobody goes to the actual game, but afterwards we have a couple people that wants to hang out and we go to somewhere. I haven't been downtown in forever, it seems. But anyway, stay tuned. If you're in town, we'd love to do something. Button DJ says Grizz 901 party at Huey's. Listen, I'm down with whatever, but I think that 26 would be a great time to kind of do I guess a meet and greet, kind of hang out. It's not even a greet. Listen, we're not important, but I'd love to see people meet you IRL, as John Roser says on all those dumb commercials. Pretty cool. But anyway, that's all we got tonight. It has been it's been a fun show. We went way over our time, but when you only do one show a week, you kind of got to go over at this point.
Seemed like you were missing it. Yeah.
Yeah. And my voice has lasted this long. So it is what it is. But any final thoughts on the game tonight, games forward, life in general, or Duke?
No, I just want to murder the Lakers on Sunday.
All right, listen,
I'm going to beat them by 30.
We're not allowing you to go to jail because Luigi has started something and we're not doing this. But Ryan would love to see the Lakers get beat by 30.
Yeah. Bad phrasing.
Trying not to die over here. All right. That's all enough for me because my voice is about to go any minute. I have another basketball game in the morning. My 6-year-old who plays like a 3-year-old. My 6-year-old has a game in the morning. We had a coach for that too. So, but that's all we have. All of you, man, thank you so much for kind of hanging out with us. I love this. Last question. Is Cooper Flag still number 1?
Yes.
Easy enough. I thought so. Where did he go? Duke. All right. Shout out to all of you. Thank you for hanging out with us. We love you all. Make sure you kind of stay tuned. We'll be back here Thursday. It's a Warriors game. You don't want to miss it. Nate will be back. So I guarantee it will be just as much fun as it was tonight. But we'll see you all then. Be nice and tell your friends.